And joining me now is the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg. Jeffrey, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here after an extraordinary scoop and week for you. We really appreciate it. I want to start with what we've been hearing from administration officials throughout the week, various excuses, explanations for how you were added to that Signal group chat. Take a listen to some of what we heard.
Maybe Goldberg found a way. Maybe there's a staffer. Maybe there's a very innocent staffer. But I think we'll get to the bottom of it very quickly, and it's really not a big deal.
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated. I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone? I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets
someone
sucked
sent
in,
you that
it gets
contact.
sucked in.
Jeffrey, what do you make of those explanations?
This isn't the Matrix. Phone numbers don't just get sucked into other phones. I don't know what he's talking about there. Very frequently in journalism, the most obvious explanation is the explanation. My phone number was in his phone because my phone number is in his phone. He's telling everyone that he's never met me or spoken to me. That's simply not true. I understand why he's doing it. But this has become a somewhat farcical situation. There's no subterfuge here. My number was in his phone. He mistakenly added me to the group chat. There we go.
All right. Well, I do want to draw on your long history of covering national security issues. Throughout the week, the Trump administration said that the information was not classified, that it was not war plans. And yet, as we just laid out there, the Signal chat included very specific details about timing, human targets, weapon systems. I know you've been asked this before, Jeffrey, but just to clarify, do you believe the information on that group chain was classified?
Well, let me answer it this way. When the texts are coming over, as I'm watching them unfold, it's 11:44 a.m. On a Saturday. Pete Hegseth is promising that U.S. warplanes are taking off in 30 minutes to bomb enemy targets that we know are protected by anti-aircraft batteries. Okay? So if that's not the most sensitive information, the most secret information in the world, I simply don't know what the meaning of classified or secret or top secret is. Because American pilots were about to fly into possibly a deadly situation, and the Secretary of Defense is telling everyone on the group chat, which, by the way, included me, that these pilots are about to go into harm's way. Talking about them going after they come back is a different thing entirely, but letting that information out on a commercial messaging app seems very odd. So I was sort of aghast when I'm watching this unfold on my phone.
You know, there's a really striking moment in the text exchange when the vice president argues against launching this attack. I want to read you part of that text. He says, quote, "The strongest reason to do this is, as POTUS said, to send a message. But I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now." Do you read that as the vice president disagreeing with President Trump after a decision had actually been made?
Right. I not only read it as a disagreement with Trump post-decision, I read it as very fraught, because what J.D. Vance is saying in the group chat, which included, as you know, much of the cabinet, much of the president's cabinet, he's saying the president doesn't even understand what he's doing here. So I found that remarkable, obviously, given that J.D. Vance has tried very hard to make sure that he's 100% aligned with what Trump says. Here we have a serious, substantive conversation where he's telling members of the cabinet, members of the president's own cabinet, that no, he doesn't even get it. So sure, that is interesting, and I would have to imagine that caused a little disturbance in the force in the White House.
Well, you know, in addition to everything we heard from the administration this week, Jeffrey, we did hear some personal attacks directed at you. I'm going to play some of that. Get your reaction on the other side.
Somebody got on. I mean, happened to know the guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine.
I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists.
So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does.
Jeffrey, I don't have to tell you this. The administration has taken legal action against news organizations. Are you concerned that this administration will come after you?
No, I don't get bullied. I'm not worried about that. They're obviously being very, very silly there. There's a playbook that, and you know this as a journalist, I'm not the only journalist to be the target of these kind of attacks. When they do something wrong, they go on the attack and they attack the messenger. You know, and the odd thing about this one is I didn't really actually do anything. I'd like to claim that I was some bold investigative reporter here. All I did was answer a message request from Mike Waltz on Signal, and then the rest of it just came on my phone. So even if I had those terrible character traits that they ascribed to me, all I did was simply print what they said. So I don't think the tactic is working. Sometimes it works. Sometimes people get intimidated. We at The Atlantic are not intimidated by this nonsense. We're going to keep reporting the truth as we see it. And I just think it's kind of silly deflection.
Finally, last question here, Jeffrey. Do you have any regrets, any second thoughts about how you handled this situation at all?
No, I mean, I wish that I had not been put in the position to have to release the more sensitive texts. But the only reason I did that was because they said we were lying about what we had, and they were trying to cover up what was obviously a massive national security breach. Journalists, I hope, operate in the public interest. The public needs to know that they don't take national security seriously. So that's why I put out what I did.
Jeffrey Goldberg, thank you so much for being here after really a remarkable week for you. We really appreciate your perspective this morning. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.